So today is the promised video of the Naked palettes that I told you about in my last video. I'm doing this review because I got my Naked 3 palette in today. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you each palette, what it comes with, and how I feel about each one. And then I'll rate them, like which one I like the best and which one I like the least. Also, I'm going to have a tutorial on an eyeshadow look from the Naked 3 palette at the end of this video. So it's going to be a little lengthy, but there's a lot of good information, so just bear with me. Okay, guys, so the first palette, obviously, is the first Naked palette by Urban Decay. And this one came with, I don't know if I have it on hand, this little brush right here. And the palette looks like that. And this brush, as well as all the brushes that I've got in these palettes, I highly dislike them. They don't pick up pigment well, I don't think. And whenever I do try to, put it on there, I feel like it's splotchy. It doesn't blend well. It's just, the fibers are so silky, and, I just don't think they pick up the eyeshadow very good. So, big thumbs down to the brushes. But that doesn't mean I don't love the palette. That just means that I wouldn't buy the palette for the brush. So, here's what the palette looks like, the first one. And you can tell that there's a really wide range of colors in it. And that's what I love about this palette. By the way, I love this palette. I like it because I prefer palettes that I can buy that will give me more than just a certain look. Whereas I feel like the Naked 2 palette is for neutral or smoky eyes. This one you can just do a little bit of everything with. You have, from dark to really light, just all kinds of really versatile shades. And that's why I like it so well. So I recommend this one to you. If you haven't bought one, the first one would be an excellent one to start out with. It also came with their primer potion. Urban Decay Primer Potion. And it's amazing too. And it holds, it makes these colors so much better because of it. For example, I feel like the stuff is waterproof because I went to Holiday World this year and I came out with all my friends and they were like, did you go put your makeup back on after you got in all the water rides? And I was like, no, I didn't put my makeup back on. And they were like, well, your makeup's still on. And sure enough, I go look in the mirror, and my eyeshadow and everything is still intact. So, I used these colors whenever I went. So, they're pretty bad to be able to, bad isn't good. They're pretty good to be able to go through all kinds of water and still be on. So, I really like the Primer Potion, and I really like this palette. So, definitely try this one if you're interested in them. So next to the Naked 2 palette, let's talk about the packaging. The packaging's metal, yeah, or aluminum something. And what I don't like about it is I open it up. Okay. For one, it's hard to open it up. But I can't tilt this very much farther because these little shadows will fall out. I hate that part about it because I like to, if I want to show you guys what they look like, but I can't really do much with it because they're just chilling. They're going to fall out if I bend this thing over. And I haven't experienced that problem with the packaging of the first one. You can see I'm sitting here doing like this and it's not falling out. But if I was to do that with this one, it would be a disaster. So, let me talk about the colors. So, the palette is actually really pretty. The colors you can't see as well, but the swatch, I'll show you the swatches on my arm. It's really pretty, but it's one of those palettes, like I said, that has a certain look. As you can see, they're all pretty neutral, dark colored shades on this end, and then they're all just really light. But I just feel like you can only get a smoky or a neutral look, as where the Naked 1, first Naked palette, is really versatile and you can get a lot of colors out of it. So, I like this palette, but I don't know if I would repurchase it. I use certain colors out of it, but I don't use as much as I should for $52. So, If you do like neutral and smoky shades, maybe this is the one for you, but for me, it's just not my fave. It also comes with a double-ended brush, double-sided brush like that. And again, I don't like the brush, but I like the palette. I don't love the palette, but I like it. So then, finally, we have the Naked 3 palette. And the packaging is just like Naked 2, but they haven't fallen out yet. So we will see how that goes, which I'm really scared about because I don't mind the packaging, but I don't want them to fall out. Like, I want to be able to show you all, which this one I can, all the gorgeous colors in this one. Oh my gosh, I love them. They're just really pinky and really soft. If you can see, the only really dark color is these two right here. And they're just gorgeous even though they're really dark. And I would have to say, I've used this one on my eyes today, and this tutorial for this eye look is going to be right after I talk about this. They're just so pretty and so shimmery, and let me tell you, I'll speak for all of the palettes. The color payoff is great. They have such great pigment. You can run your finger on them, and they will swatch right on there, right on your eye. I'm going to show you the swatches for this one right now. And so, as you could tell on my arm, they just look so good. I mean, I took one swipe, and I mean, they are just, you know, there. You can see them perfectly. So, if I had to buy, if I could only buy one, I would say it's the first Naked palette. I love Naked 3, but there's only, like I said, the first palette just has so many more colors that you can use. You can just get so many more looks, whereas this one is just like the second one. It's only for a certain kind of look, I think. You can make a lot of looks out of it, but only for like a certain, I don't know what the word is for it, but I love it, don't get me wrong, but it's just not the Naked 1. So if I had to rank these, I would obviously rank the Naked 1 palette as number 1, Naked 3 as my number 2, and Naked 2 as my number 3. They're awesome palettes. I'd recommend them to anybody. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But if you want something that you can get the most use out of, I feel that it would be the Naked 1 palette. So next, I'm going to show you the eye look that I'm wearing today. It looks like this, out of the Naked 3 palette. So if you want to see how I do that, just keep watching. Okay guys, so now we're going to do the Naked 3 tutorial. And I'm going to apply this like I would normally apply it every day. Sometimes some YouTube users or people that have their own channel, when they do eyeshadow tutorials, like they'll already have their foundation and stuff on. But I want you guys to really see like how I do this so that you can do it the way you want to. And I always apply my eyeshadow before my foundation. And a lot of people I know apply their foundation first and all their powder and all that. But the reason I like to apply it without putting my foundation on first is because a lot of times, especially if you're using shimmery shadows, you can have a lot of fallout like right here on your cheeks. And if you get that on your foundation and you try to like start like, you know, rubbing it off, it's going to smear and your foundation is going to be a hot mess. So you want to make sure that you put it on before foundation. So the first product that we are going to use, we're going to prime our eyelids, and I'm going to use Urban Decay's eyeshadow primer potion, and it looks like this, and a little sample of this comes in your Naked 3 palette if you purchase that. It also comes with the first Naked palette. But if you don't have this and you don't want to go out and spend the money on it, you can even prime your eyes with your foundation. I mean, anything that it's going to stick to, but I wouldn't recommend using nothing before your eyeshadow just because you're not going to get as good color payoff and it's not going to last as long and stay in place. So I'm just putting a little bit of this on my beauty blender, and I'm going to put this on my eyes like so. And it doesn't take very much, and you get a lot in this little tube, believe it or not. Okay. So we're just patting that in there. Make sure there's no creases in it before you start applying your eyeshadow. Okay, on to the Naked 3 palette. We're going to use the shade Limit, which is this shade right here for our base. And I'm just going to take my Eyes Lips Face eyeshadow brush, looks like that. Just dabbing it in there. And I'm going to apply that right below the crease, just on your lid, but not going higher than the crease. The color's not showing up as good as I'd like it to, but we'll deal with it. Okay. So there's that eye. Okay. We're pretty even. You want to make sure you blend because you don't want any harsh lines because that's just not cute. Okay, so there's our first color. You're not supposed to put it above your crease, but my lids are a little bit hidden, so I always just put it just a little bit above. Plus my transition color, which is the color that goes where I went above, is going to go there, so it kind of acts as a guide. A transition color is just the blending shade between your lid and your brow bone. And so for that, I'm going to use the shade Nooner right here. And I'm just going to sweep back and forth, windshield wiper motions. I'm using the Sigma Tapered E40. So you can already see how it darkened that a little bit. Just sweep back and forth. This method's not hard at all. Just blend. I like to, and then I'll tap my brush off kind of like on a paper towel or something. That way it has no product and I can just sit there and blend that out good where there's no harsh lines. So you can see it's really blended. Okay, so then the next shade that we are going to use is the shade Factory. It's right here. We're going to put that in the crease. And for that, I'm going to use my E45 small tapered blending brush. And I'm taking that and I'm dabbing it right in that crease if you want to look up. So you know that you're going to get it in your crease really good. And I'm just taking it in there. Just opening your eyes helps get in that crease. That way you know it's like foolproof. You're not going to mess up. So you can see where I applied that. Going to use a little bit more of that. And I'm really putting that in there generously, because I want to really darken that up. And see, you can already see that fallout right here on my cheek of where I just used that dark shade. And so if you have your foundation on, that's what's going to happen. And when you try to go to wipe it off, it's just going to smear into it and you're going to take your foundation off. Which is why I wait to do that. Again, open your eyes so you can get right in that crease. And you can use any crease brush you have to do this. You don't have to have the Sigma one. Okay, so you can see that eye looks a little bit darker. So I'm going back in this one and darken this one up a little bit. And in here you use windshield wiper motions too, just going back and forth. So now you can see they're both pretty dark. Then the next shade I'm going to use is Blackheart, and that's like the shade with the most fallout, so you're going to see all kinds on my cheek probably. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that in that crease too, just at the very tip, just to give it a little smokiness. Yeah, that looks good. Again, open your eye, that way you can get it right there in that crease. And this we're not taking very far, so you can see that still needs to be blended out. So I'm going to wipe my brush off so I don't get any extra product in there. So, because I don't want to take this any farther than the outer, because if you take this all the way in, it's going to be too harsh. And it's not going to look as pretty. This eye looks darker, but I promise it's not. It's just how the lighting's hitting my face on the other side. But I'll try to darken this so that you guys can see. I'm wiping that off, or I just put that back on there. So, I mean, you know, a lot of people are like, you can't get a dark look with this palette because it's so pinky. But you can see that my eyes are pretty dark right now. Okay, and so I forgot to show you that color. So there's Black Heart. It has little red flakes in it, kind of. I don't know if you can see them in there, but you can kind of see where it's shimmering. Okay, but the next color we're going to use on the inner corner right here. Just to add a little sparkle. It's going to be the shade Dust. And I'm just going to use my finger for this part. And I'm just going to rub my finger in there. And do like that, I'm going to hit right in that tear duct. And you can already see where the color transferred. And I'm just blending up. And see, you can see it add a little shimmer. Just makes you look a little bit more awake and brightens the eye a little bit. You can see the difference. Make sure that's blended out. Yeah, that looks good. Take this side. Right on that tear duct, you can see. Just wiping it in there, blending it out, tap it on your finger a little bit. Okay, so you can see. Alright, now we're going to highlight our brow bone with the shade Strange. Ooh, the brush fell. Yikes. The shade Strange right there. I'm taking my E50 large fluff brush. And you can see how much color it packs on. And I'm just going to use that right above my brow bone. And I do this twice, actually. I do it before I do my eyebrows. And then I'll do my foundation, all that, and my eyebrows. And then I just go back over it just to make sure that it accentuates that brow a little bit where the arch is. Okay, so you can see how much fallout is on this one more so than this one. But, you know, that just goes to show that you don't need to, you know, put on, that just goes to show that you don't want to put your eyeshadow on before your foundation. So, I'm going to put my eyeliner on next. Okay, so I'm going to put my eyeliner on next, but before I do that, I'm going to take my big powder brush and just wipe all that off my eye under there. So for my eyeliner, what we're going to use is this Loreal Voluminous Smoldering Eyeliner Kohl, and mine's in black, obviously. So what we're going to do with this, usually I like a wing, but I just want this one to be really soft and this eye look to be soft and blended out. So I'm just going to take and put some of that. We're going to take the eye kohl instead today and put it on your eye. Just line the lower or the upper lash line. Don't take it all the way in. Which you can, but for this I wouldn't take it all the way in. And for future reference to you ladies out there, take that eyeliner and get way down in that lash line, because I can't stand, it drives me crazy whenever I see somebody and their eye is like white and then their eyeliner is above it. And I'm like, that's not the purpose of eyeliner. It's supposed to thicken the lash line. Don't, like, if you're going to put it on, put it all the way to the bottom. So we're going to do this next eye. This is a really good eye coat too. It's lasted forever. Like I said, I'm making sure I get way down there in that lash line. And even if it kind of transfers right there, you can always take that off. Okay. So you can see I took that one a little bit farther in. And your line doesn't have to be perfect with this because we're going to just sit here and blend it out. So I'm taking my E20 short shader brush. And I'm going to take it and just take where I put that line and blend out. This just softens it up a little bit, makes it a little more smoky. Let's see how I did that right there. So you can see we have some smoky eyes now. Okay. So I'm going to put my mascara on and the rest of my makeup, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, guys, so this is the finished look. The eyes looked really harsh. Like, I watched the video, and they looked really harsh whenever I put the eyeliner on, but as you can see, they're really blended out, and I just think they look really pretty and smoky, but not like really harsh. They're really soft. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you want to get a naked palette. If you have any questions about the naked palettes that I mentioned, just comment below. And I hope to have another video up for you guys soon. So thanks for watching. Bye.